Members of the Fly Music Society, welcome back to the channel. We are live here on YouTube with all of my friends. It's episode 2 of our live reaction stream. So I appreciate everybody hanging out with me in the chat. We got Techno Buzz in here, Skylar Booty, JMK, Joint Dell Records. All the fun people are in the chat. So again, I do appreciate the support. This one was requested by my good friend, Jesse Bell Development. You guys know him very well. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. He's been trying to get me to do TOP 21 Pilots for a while. And I've been asking him where to start. What should I do? Like, what do I need to look out for, right? And so I think this is one of those bands from what he's been telling me that I need to kind of research first and kind of get to know them a little bit before I go into it, because apparently there's so much lore going on with this band that I just need to make sure I don't miss anything. But yeah, this is the start of it. This is the lore behind 21 Pilots. He said this won't ruin anything. It's more so like what to look out for when I do watch them. So I think y'all will enjoy this. We're going to talk about 21 Pilots here, but we're going to go ahead and get through this and let's get started. Again, this is the lore behind 21 Pilots. This is by the YouTube channel is Wise Bear. 847 subscribers, but this has 55k views. Now, how does that make sense, guys? This is what happens with YouTube sometimes. Here we go. It's gonna bother me. Go away.
And 21 Pilots is one of the most famous bands out there, mixing different music genres like rock, rap, indie, and pop into their songs. But there is one thing you might not know about them, and that is that their songs hint at...
Bell, you came in like right at the perfect moment. It's almost like Faith sent you here at the exact moment that I started this. This was yours. This was your... That was crazy. Vintage, welcome and welcome in. This is actually a request from Jesse himself, Bell Development. So let's get into it.
A bigger picture going on in the background. Now, this is a complicated subject to explore, so I'll do my best to do it justice. Although signs of a deeper meaning to the 21 Pilots songs can be seen throughout all of their music, it wasn't until the Blurryface album was released that it all began to take shape. It is worth mentioning that this album, as well as Trench, their next album after Blurryface, are what are known as conceptual albums, which can be defined as an album whose tracks hold a larger purpose or meaning collectively than they do individually, meaning that every album represents an idea or theme, and in this case, a story also. Prior to the release of Blurryface, a Twitter account with the same name was created, where information about the band's new releases were leaked to the public. But it didn't end there. The account seemed to have a personality of its own, posting weird tweets like "don't put my name on things" and other random messages. In the album, Blurryface can be seen interrupting Tyler, the lead singer, and making appearances throughout their songs. He is depicted with the color red and usually has a deeper voice than the one of Tyler. Another thing to note is that every time Tyler sings, he has his neck and hands painted black, which symbolizes the control that Blurryface has over him. So
well, that was weird. Both said so at the same time. What the hell? There's been a few artists that have done something like this. Tyler, the Creator, does a thing where, you know, he kind of has like an alter ego that kind of he has conversations with in his songs. Obviously, Eminem did it. Ren's done it in that song. Eminem's done it, but with Shady and him, right? But Tyler, the Creator, I feel like really took it to another level, in my opinion, where he like took that alter ego and actually made it important to his songs, right? It doesn't go as in depth as this sounds, where like this whole album is conceptual and there's a story being told throughout the entirety of each album, but more so specific songs. This is Tyler feeling insecure. Yeah, man, I feel like it's really cool to kind of do that. There's a lot of bands out there where like they're easy listening and you can just like put it on when you're doing other stuff. And then there's also bands out there where you like have to listen and look at everything. Kind of like Ren most of the time. You have to look at what's going on. You have to kind of analyze the lyrics, right? I get the feeling from 21 Pilots like they're taking easy listening type songs, but intertwining that with like really intricate stuff that you need to pay attention to. So it's disguised as, it's really like, what's the word I'm looking for, or the phrase, hiding in plain sight. That's what I was looking for. So that's what it seems like so far, but let's keep going and see if I'm right.
The one of Tyler.
I want to see Tyler the Creator, by the way. I know it's like super late, but Callers, that dude was dope.
Another thing to note is that every time Tyler sings, he has his neck and hands painted black, which symbolizes the control that Blurryface has over him. So, what does this character mean? Well, Blurryface is meant to be a representation of Tyler's fears, doubts, and insecurities as a singer and as a person. The theme of this whole album is the struggle to escape from Blurryface and not let himself be controlled by him. Therefore, in a way, Blurryface is its own being residing inside of Tyler, and in a way, in all of us. Perhaps the clearest appearance in the entire album happens in Stressed Out, where everything in the song is said in the perspective of Blurryface, with the line, "My name is Blurryface, and I care what you think," showing us exactly what Blurryface represents in Tyler's mind, which is insecurity, doubt, and fear. Now that we know who Blurryface is, we can start talking about Trench, their next album. But before we do that, we need to take a look at Heathens, the song that came out with the release of the superhero movie Suicide Squad. In this video, we can see Tyler stuck in a prison cell wearing...
So, for the record, Heathens is where I'm going to start my journey for 21 Pilots. It's a live concert, and this is all, again, courtesy of Jesse. I've heard Heathens before, which is why I'm starting there also, but I haven't seen it live, obviously, and I haven't known any of the lore behind it. So I think it's a good place to start something I've heard of, where I can actually focus more so on the visuals and what's going on than trying to like analyze or process the music the first time. Yes, that's the Stranger Things one. Yeah. This guy? Who's this guy? I think there's similarities between Ren and this. I think Ren is a little bit more abstract, which I tend to appreciate more. Not saying that it's bad to like have a whole super bombastic lore around your albums, like it's a novel, right? I think those are two different audiences. I like the subtlety of Ren because I can take a song and be like, that was incredible, the story that was told, and it not be part of a bigger picture. So if I want to jump in anywhere, I can jump in anywhere, right? As somebody who has a lot of, like, no time on their hands, I like that. But something's to be said to have music that's also basically like each album is a movie, which is really cool.
Came out with the release of the superhero movie Suicide Squad.
Horrible movie.
In this video, we can see Tyler stuck in a prison cell wearing an orange jumpsuit when Josh, the other member of the band, passes by him riding a moving platform with the color yellow on it, the same color of their new album, Trench. An interesting thing to notice is that Tyler is using the color orange in this scene, which is a middle point between yellow and red, with red being the color of Blurryface. This might signify that at that point in time, he was stuck somewhere in between Blurryface and whatever the color yellow represents, which could be the complete opposite of what Blurryface represents. After being freed from the prison by Josh, Tyler follows him to a room where he takes off his orange jumpsuit and starts playing the bass while wearing a yellow jacket. After the concert, everybody else escapes except for Tyler, who goes back to his cell wearing the same orange that he was wearing at the beginning of the video.
The yellow faded to orange.
In the song called Heavy Dirty Soul, we can actually see Blurryface as a separate entity driving the car that Tyler is on, symbolizing how Blurryface is in control of his life, driving it around in circles.
In the driver's seat.
The car falls apart and Tyler starts playing with Josh, which might signify how doing music with Josh is sort of an escape from his mind, an escape from Blurryface. When the era of the Blurryface album had ended, the band posted an animation of an eye closing, and then there was silence. This is when the hiatus started, where the band went silent for an entire year, with the exception of a live appearance in 2017 where the band won an award for the most dedicated fan base. Only Josh went to the award ceremony to accept the prize, where he delivered this message.
Tyler wishes he could be here. He's actually off severing ties with Dema.
And understandably, no one knew what he was talking about. What exactly was Dema? And what did Tyler have to do with it? Well, this
is the thing, right? Most dedicated fan base after 2 albums, because you have so much intrigue around the story of that's going on with your albums and all these little nuances to look out for, the color schemes, who's talking, what does it mean? Why does he say all these intriguing aspects of the album? Of course, you're going to have the most dedicated fan base. You're analyzing every fucking thing in every song, right? And I think that's part of why High Ren has led Ren to have so many fans, is because we analyze literally every nuance in that video and we're intrigued of what he's going to do next, right? I'm sure the pressure for both Tyler and Ren of, well, how am I going to up the ante this time? How am I going to make this even more special, even more intricate, even more, meaningful than the last one? I'm sure that's a lot of pressure on them too. It got the core fan base to go deep. Exactly. 100%. All right, let's continue.
No one knew what he was talking about. What exactly was Dema, and what did Tyler have to do with it? Well, this all brings us to Trench. And get ready because it gets weirder from here. Months later, the silence broke with a post on their merchandise page for the album Vessel on April 2018. It was a GIF with a URL on it called dmaorg.info. When accessed, an error page would appear with the message, "You are in violation, they mustn't know you were here, no one should ever find out about this, you can never tell anyone about this, for the sake of the other survival, you must keep this silent, we must keep silent."
I have to ask, I noticed the E, the A, the T, so eat, the I, the U, the P are all capital. I'm assuming there's a reason for that, or is it just to look cool? I don't think it's just to look cool. I don't know, man. And the P is underlined in yellow. Look at that. See, now I'm starting to overanalyze everything. Okay, let's go. Sorry.
No one can know, no one can know, no one can know. The page also...
And why is there random ass spaces here, right? This is the same way that blurryface was typing, so is he bad?
Had a violation code at the end with the numbers 153986442_14 on it. Pretty suspicious if you ask me. But there is more. When looking at the message, you might notice that some letters are capitalized. When combined, the letters read East is up.
East is up.
Which,
okay.
Weirdly enough, are the lyrics of the song Nico and the Niners from the Trench album.
East is up. I'm fearless when I hear this on the low. East is up.
Fans discovered that if you modified the URL by adding the violation code, another page would appear. This page contained photos, letters, and messages for fans to decipher. The page seemed to be managed by a person named Clancy, who wrote letters every so often detailing his life in a place called Dema, which is what Josh was referring to in his speech at the 2017 awards. In his letters, Clancy details his experiences living in the dystopian city of Dema and how the place is run by 9 bishops collectively known as Nico and the Niners. He writes about his curiosity about the outside world and how he longs to know what is outside. He later escapes the city.
First of all, how do you come up with this? Right? Like, how do you come up with all of this stuff? I think it's an art form to create music that's intriguing and awesome and all that. It's a whole nother thing to create a universe, right? I don't know how you guys, this is totally kind of off topic, but it's relatable and I'll push it together. But I think as much as people want to talk about how bad Marvel is right now and all that stuff, I think the universe that they built early on is really second to none. And it's really hard to top that. We expect them to, but I don't think it can be done. It's hard to build a cohesive universe where everything's intertwined and you have all these Easter eggs that lead to something else, that lead something to something else, that lead back to the original. Like, it's hard to build that in a way that's understandable right? So it's crazy to do this. And Elizabeth J said, Tyler's mind is crazy complex. I think with very intelligent people and people who are very much a genius, they understand things on another level to the point where that's part of why they end up having all of these mental issues, is because they see all of the bad things as well as all the good things, right? I think that's why there's, what's the saying? There's a thin line between genius and insanity. I think that's totally 100% true. But we're going to get into the Dema storyline right now.
Nancy details his experiences living in the dystopian city of Dema and how the place is run by 9 bishops collectively known as Nico and the Niners. He writes about his curiosity about the outside world and how he longs to know what is outside. He later escapes the city and does his best to keep us updated on his life as he keeps uploading letters to the website. But what exactly is Dema, you might ask? Well, Dema is a dystopian city ruled by 3 bishops, as stated before. These bishops follow a religion called Vialism, which appears to be the worship of light bulbs? Well, upon researching the topic, it seems like there is a general consensus that the purpose of the religion is to celebrate death by suicide. And the lights that they worship, or vials, are used to build what are called neon gravestones, which could be a metaphor relating to death and how light can be contained in a vial. It is important to state that this band doesn't believe in these ideals and that they said in an interview that this fake religion is 100% wrong. Dema itself is based on what is known as the Tower of Silence, an ancient circular structure meant to expose dead human bodies to the elements so that they may decay and fall prey to vultures and other scavenger birds in the area.
Bro, like, okay. This is going to be a long ass video, but I don't care. So here's the thing, okay? I actually believe that you could turn this into a comic book that could then be translated to a TV show that could later turn into a movie, just like Elizabeth J was saying. And I think if they don't do that, I respect it for keeping its original, where it was originally put. Keeping it there, I respect that. As an artist, I understand not wanting to touch something that is already acclaimed. But at the same time, man, how many fans would be so happy for that to happen? I think it's funny, like, all of this is in their music and in their promotion, right? And they're utilizing social media. They're utilizing all these different things to create this lore for their fan base. And I think it's cool to make sure people are engaged. Yeah, man, I gotta catch up to this shit. Fuck. I already have no time. What's gonna end up happening is, like, I'm probably gonna... Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna react. I might do the first couple albums, react to the entire album like I've done before and make them separate videos. And then after that, I'm gonna have to start listening on my own because it's so much. All right, let's continue.
Decay and fall prey to vultures and other scavenger birds in the area. Curiously,
Jesse, they'd rather have less radio play if it means more excitement for the fans. Yeah, fuck radio play, man. I've already told you, like, the mainstream is kind of whack. That's why, like, there's exceptions. This is an exception where there's so much artistry that goes on outside of the music. Like, you have to respect it.
Vulture on its cover, further adding to the metaphor and symbolism of death that the bishops worship. If we take a closer look at the image of Dema provided in the website, we can see the names of the 9 bishops written in the center of the structure. 9 circles are shown as well as 9 districts, each attributed to a bishop. Turns out that if you take the hidden message east is up from the previous error page and apply it to the image, rotating it so that the east side is pointing up, then
Jesus Christ
will align with the 9 songs in the cover of the Blurryface album. Each of the patterns in the cover represents one of the songs in the album, and if you look closely at the song lyrics, and I mean very closely, you can see the names of the bishops hidden in the lyrics of their corresponding songs. And this is the case for all the bishops except for Nico. As an example, Keon's comes from the line "Choke on Smoke" from Herbie Dirty Soul, and Sakarver comes from "She's a Carver" from the song "Tear in My Heart." And it gets weirder from there. If you take all of the songs corresponding to the Blurryface album cover, and number them, you get the violation code shown in the DMA.org website. Although the name Nico doesn't appear.
Bro, what the Dude, the amount of brain power it takes to like put all of this shit together is nuts. Do you understand like what was just said? So you have a website that they created with an error code that leads you to get all of this information, which all that information is awesome, right? You get names of the Niners, all that stuff. Great. Then you have East is Up. You're like, okay, that's the album cover. Just turn it. And now you know all the names of them. But what did he say?
Example, Keons comes from the line Choke on Smoke from Herbie Dirty Soul. And Sakarver comes from She's a Carver from the song Tear in My Heart. And it gets weirder from there. If you take all of the songs corresponding to the Blurryface album cover and number them, you get the violation code shown in the DMA.
Still, you number them and it's back to the error code that started this whole thing. My God, man. You're right. It has to take an entire creative team and they need to write like mystery thrillers, man. This is fucking crazy.
.org website. Although the name Nico doesn't appear.
I think it's similar to Money Game, but Money Game is way less intricate than this. Like, not taking anything away from it, but it's way less intricate.
Shown in the DMA.org website. Although the name Nico doesn't appear directly in any of the Blurryface songs, it does appear in Morph, where his full name is mentioned as being Nicholas Bourbaki.
They'll always try to stop me, that Nicholas Bourbaki. He's got no friends close, but those who know him most know he goes by Nico. He told me I'm a copy. When I hear him mock me, that's almost stopped me.
A quick Google search will show that Nicholas Bourbaki is the name of a group of mathematicians who, coincidentally, invented the symbol 21 Pilots uses.
I was just going to ask about that.
So, one possible explanation is that, like the collective group of the 9 mathematicians, Nico is the collective name of the 9 bishops, or Blurryface, whom his identity seemed to correlate to. This means that Dema itself is a representation of Blurryface, who in turn represents Tyler's fears and insecurities. So in a way, it makes sense that the ultimate goal of Vialism is to die by suicide, given the fact that too much of Blurryface means more insecurity, anxiety, depression, and everything that comes with it, which can sadly lead a person to the path of suicide, which is a bad thing. So, in a way, this whole world is an acknowledgement to mental health issues and how difficult it can be to escape them, just like it is to escape from Blurryface. If we continue with the story, Clancy finally escapes Dema and heads for Trench, a place inhabited by a group called the Bandidos. But in his journey, he notices that he is not alone, that there is a person doing the journey alongside him. But instead of in the mountains, the other person is walking in the valley down below. Clancy then describes the events of the Jumpsuit video as a bystander as he watches Tyler walking along the valley. The Jumpsuit video starts where Heavy Dirty Soul left off, with Tyler getting out of his car and arriving in Trench. He then finds himself with the Bandidos, who observe him from above. Later we see one of the bishops appear, who seems to be chasing Tyler, probably to take him back to Dema. We can see as he puts his hands on Tyler's neck, turning it black to keep him under his control, but the Bandidos intervene, throwing yellow petals at them. This breaks Tyler free from Nico's control, giving him a chance to escape. Turns out the bishops can't see the color yellow, as Clancy tells us, which is why the Bandidos wear the color in their clothing. Tyler uses his chance to make a run for it, but is caught again and is taken back to Dema. After this, all of the Bandidos leave except for one, Josh, who tries to free Tyler time and time again from the bishops, but always seems to fail. In the next video for the song Nico and the Niners, Tyler is seen packing his things to leave Dema again as the Bandidos make their way into the city. As they walk inside, the people of the town close their windows like they're afraid of them, which makes sense given the fact that letting go of all the things Dema and Blurryface represents is often difficult, even if hope is standing right in front of you. Tyler then runs into the Bandidos and for a moment turns away from them, as if he himself is afraid. He then sees Josh and greets him with the same handshake that they used in the video for Stressed Out. This song also makes certain references to Heathens, with the lyrics, "We'll find a way to pay for it," and force a sponsor showing up.
Taking a break for it, we'll find a way to pay for it. Force a sponsor and start a concert, a complete diversion. Start a mob, but you can be quite certain we'll win, but not everyone will get out. No.
This is probably talking about how they had to force a bunch of Suicide Squad characters into their video just to get the money that they needed. He then follows by saying, start a concert, a complete diversion, start a mob, and you can be quite certain we'll win, but not everybody will get out. Which is exactly what happened in Heathens. They started a concert as a diversion. They won because everybody escaped, but not everybody will get out because Tyler stayed and remained behind bars. The story continues in Levitate, where the bandidos are seen returning to Trench with Tyler, where they have a party and enjoy themselves throughout the night. When they finish, Tyler is left with no distractions, nothing to occupy his mind, which is when Nick...
It's almost like an abstract tale of his mental health journey, right? If we could take our mental health journey and create this creative story that makes sense, but also is abstract and leaves it up for interpretation. I feel like this is a great way to do that. I remember days when my friends just showed up to check on me, no matter if I wanted to see them or not. Yeah, man, those days are key and critical sometimes to people's survival. So I totally get that. And I think that handshake, like kind of like you're alluding to, is definitely a symbol of that. Especially since Josh is always the one trying to save him, right?
Escaped, but not everybody will get out because Tyler stayed and remained behind bars. The story continues in Levitate, where the bandidos are seen returning to Trench with Tyler, where they have a party and enjoy themselves throughout the night. When they finish, Tyler is left with no distractions, nothing to occupy his mind, which is when Nico appears and takes him away. And here's where the story ends for now. There's a new album that came out in May 2021 with new clues and things to dissect from the 21 Pilots lore. But for now, I'll just leave it here. If you liked the video and want to see more about here's 21 Pilots lore.
I see yellow. Gotta mean something, right? Holy crap, that's crazy. It's just like subscribe, right? Nothing. Okay. Yeah, man. It's pretty incredible. And I know you were saying it was intricate, but there's an expectation of like intricate and overly crazily I don't want to say overly, but like extremely it's meticulous and very detailed, and everything has to kind of intertwine, right? It's nuts. That's why cycles are a major theme. It's cool. One time Tyler had an incident at a festival and Josh looked so worried. Representation of the bandidos. When someone is deep in depression, sometimes all they can do is remind him that he's not alone and give him encouragement. Yellow petals, yellow skill is referred to as a pandemic. I think the biggest thing was what Elizabeth said of the representation of the bandidos. The yellow, the sprinkling of the yellow, what was that, petals, is kind of a visual representation of the positivity or the hope kind of seeping in. And that's all. Sometimes all it takes when you're in that deepest of darkest times is that tiny bit of positivity, that tiny bit of hope to kind of get you out of it. And he mentioned that in the video, but like, that's insane. Like all of those things. So now I'm going to have to I'm probably in those reaction videos. Honestly, I'm going to be pausing at like every 10 seconds, be like, I know that looks like yellow. Look at that. It's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a fun wormhole to get into, rabbit hole to get into. But Jesse, I appreciate it. I'm going to go to you to where to start the journey, and all of you to where I should start this journey, because there's so much craziness. And I applaud you guys, and I am envious of you guys who had multiple people checking on you and saving your life. I had one friend that was helpful with that, and now currently obviously my wife, but I had to get through all that on my own. I had a support system that was like, we're ride or die, right, at the time, but they didn't really know I was going through anything. But it was just their presence alone saved me. But the people that are saying like they actually had people trying to go and save you, that's incredible. So anyways, that was awesome. I'm excited to get into the lore of 21 Pilots and to start listening to some of their stuff. So Jesse, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And please do remember that good vibes are contagious.